Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Otome Games podcast. I am Sweet Pixel.
And I'm Midnight Static. Joining us today, we have the lovely Kakera. She's the solo dev behind the saucy and sensual visual novel Devil's Apple.
Welcome. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, hello. I'm Kakera. I'm a freelance artist with a degree in video game art, and I'm also a solo dev, and I'm making Otome games as a hobby. The Demon's Apple is my first commercial Otome game.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for wanting to talk about the games that we like to play. It's really a pleasure having you here, and how about we start talking about what arguably makes the most important part of any visual novel, which is the story. Could you give us a little spoiler-free overview of the story?
Yeah, of course. The Demon's Apple follows the story of Pomme. She is a village herbalist, and during one of her outings to pick up some medicinal herbs, she finds a badly wounded man that she tries to save. Fortunately, she discovers he is a demon. The demons drink human blood, so he tries to bite her and drink her blood and then escape. They meet again after a few weeks, but this time they'll have to cooperate in a world that his boss is hostile to both.
So this makes me curious what the initial idea or what sparked this idea for the story. Was it something specific that inspired you to write this?
It's hard to tell because the story is about 8 years old, so it's been a long time, and I just kept it on the site since I didn't do anything with it at the time. But when I had to choose recently a game, a story to make in a game, I chose this one because I find the ideas fun of wanting to tell the story of both two enemies that find common ground. And have to live close to each other even though they hate each other.
Wow, 8 years ago. How did it initially start as a game idea, or was it just a story that you wrote for fun?
It started as a webtoon idea since I wrote webtoon at the time, and since then I slightly changed the path to do Otome game because it was more fun to be able to choose how to romance the character I loved. So it ended up being a great idea for games.
That's awesome. It's very cool to be able to make your ideas real in the way that you imagined them as a webtoon initially, but then you figure it would be cool to be able to interact with this and make choices, and you actually made it real. You made it into something that you can interact with.
So I was going to mention that it's still not a bad idea to have a webtoon for it as well. You can have a game and a webtoon. That would be very nice.
At the time, I was going to have a contract with a webtoon website, but it didn't end up working. So I didn't know what to do with the story at the time, and I was working, so I didn't working at a day job, so I didn't have much time to do it. But no, I think I prefer the game development side to the webtoon side. Because I feel like there is much more freedom in the way I want to tell my stories.
Because with the other one, maybe you're going to have to stick to something specific, and if they have some requirements or something.
Yeah, that's right.
I see. Okay. Well, I'm just glad that you decided to make it into a game so we can play it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we heard enough about the story. How about we move on to the characters and the romance? So our main character is a pretty redhead who lives on the outskirts of the village and makes potions, which she sells in her father's shop. Could you tell us more about the main character and her personality?
Yeah, of course. I think some would see her as a naive girl, but she isn't. She is more a good-hearted person and gentle. So, I mean, she knows when she jumps into danger, but she jumps anyway. She likes taking care of people. She likes saving people, and she wouldn't bear the guilt of, for example, not saving Styx when she could have.
She just has a very nice heart.
Yeah.
So throughout the game, we get to makes some choices for her in the form of what she does or what she says or how she reacts. I wanted to ask how impactful would those choices be for the story and how it progresses, or even her relationships, like how much Styx likes what she says.
Yeah, so the story is quite linear, so even though there are a lot of choices, they will mostly affect the relationships you'll have with Styx. His behavior change depending on your choices, and endings depends on choices. So while they might not look like they affect much, you can have different endings depending on your choice, and if you not get Styx trust you enough, ending might change for the best or the worst.
Well, we've been mentioning Styx, but we have to explain to everyone who Styx actually is. One day we go gathering herbs and we stumble upon a wounded man. From the goodness of our heart, we mentioned that the main character is a very sweet girl. We decide to take him home and treat his wounds. So we then find out that he's a demon. He seems to be our main love interest as well. What could you tell us about this character without any spoilers, of course? I kind of spoiled he's a demon already, but...
Yeah, that's the base of the character. But Styx is a demon, so he drinks blood from a man. He have to drink blood to survive. He first appears as really aggressive and quite violent, but you can see while starting to know him that he is much more than he appears to be first, and he might have some good side to him.
Definitely, and Pomme and Styx definitely have a very complicated relationship once their paths intertwine. Not only does she obviously develop some sort of relationship and some sort of feelings for Styx, but she's also in a bit of a hostage situation. So it's a very complicated, weird situation between the two of them, which opens the door for a lot of interesting situations. I wanted to ask, how did you approach writing the trust that they build and the tension between them?
I think trust is built up in the little step. So when I wrote, I tried to get those little step little by little. So first, since they mostly not hate each other, but they are wary of each other. But once one make a step, the other make a step, and I try to use that as a connecting things between them. Once someone talk about themselves, the other will do the same, and little by little they come to trust more of each other and discover the hidden aspect of each other's life.
So they get to know each other over time, step by step, basically.
Yes.
I managed to slightly figure out the character, but not entirely, so I'm very curious to have the opportunity to get to know him better, definitely. We did mention that he needs to recover mana through blood and other alternative ways. And that really creates a very interesting dynamic. What made you pick this concept in particular?
I won't hide because it's fun for the spicy content. But that's also a fun way to create a dependency of the character, and they have to rely on each other to survive, especially Styx, who couldn't live without her presence, or at least not without difficulty. So it was fun to use that idea to get them closer to each other, because they are quite opposite in personality, and it wouldn't even have been able to know her if it wasn't for the opportunity to eat her mana.
I approve. I think it's a great idea. Great choice. I love it.
Thank you.
I believe I was there when Pixel was first playing the game, and the moment things got slightly more saucy, she looked at me with a face like, "Ooh, it's getting started. Let's go."
And it's only the beginning.
He's very straightforward. I was blushing. I was like, oh, okay, getting straight to the point.
Yeah, of course.
So, apart from Styx, later in the story, we get introduced to a knight whose name we don't get to find out during the demo. So many knights were tasked with patrolling the forest in search for Styx, and this knight in particular seems to take a very special interest in us, which looks to me is going to make the situation even more complicated going forward. I assume he's going to be a future love interest. Is that so? And if yes, how do he and Styx differ?
He is not. Barcy is an important character to the story. I can't tell much more, but without spoiling you. But I can tell you is that if the game sells, my plan is to have him have his own stories. So I would like to tell his story in another game, or at least a DLC. I don't even know how he will do it, but yeah, his story is quite important to the lore. So I guess I want him to have his own game.
If he's worthy of having a game of his own, he must definitely have a lot of lore attached to him.
Yes.
At least in your heads, if not on paper yet.
Yes,
That would be awesome. I'm excited. I hope he gets his own game, because I do want
Yeah, I
to
hope
know
so.
more.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a fantasy world because you do have demons like Styx and witches like the main character's mother. I know you mentioned it's been a while since you first got the idea, but do you remember if it was from any books, games, folklore, mythology that's inspired you to make Demon's Apple?
Yeah, it's mostly based on Greek mythology, as you can hear from his name. The Styx, as you might know, is a river that connects the world to the underworld, and I think that might hint something in the future story in the full game.
Ooh, interesting. Greek mythology. That's very cool. I'm not very involved in Greek mythology. I haven't learned that much about it, but it would be interesting if there's some sort of mix with this world and the larger Greek mythology, like other
Yeah,
creatures or fantastical parts of it.
yeah, there are a lot of hints that are not like it's more implied than anything. But if you know well the mythology, can probably understand the lore behind the Demon's Apple by referring yourself to Greek mythology.
I see. Very cool.
Can I actually ask one more thing now that we mentioned mythology? I wasn't aware about Styx being a river. And then we didn't mention the apple. Is the apple connected to, the Adam and Eve story in any way, or is it totally not the case?
It wasn't on purpose, but yeah, a lot of people have told me about it and saw links that I didn't see. So I find it fun to see that people can relate in their own knowledge and beliefs to the story. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's nice to try to figure it out and have your little thing in your head as well. So yeah.
Everyone has their own headcanon.
Yeah, that's fun. That's the fun of it.
All right, I wanted to ask a bit more about the music and the art of the game. So the environments were definitely very cool. There weren't that many of them in the demo, but each of them was unique and very interesting. Like the forest, the house, the village. Is there a way that you approach designing spaces, or how much mind do you pay the backgrounds?
I'm trying to. I think I'm mostly inspired by what surrounds me because I live in a little village, and also that's really close to what we can find in the game. And I wanted at least to give it a slight fantasy feeling. I had ideas to give it even more fantasy feeling, but I didn't make it in the end. But there are like 20 backgrounds about that. So I
Wow.
tried to that was long, and I tried to keep it real, but by giving slight fantasy elements, particularly in a natural environment.
So you're a solo dev. You did the backgrounds and the art yourself?
Yeah, I did everything but the music.
I look up to people who can do that.
Yeah, that's hard. I just did it because, I don't have enough money to pay someone, and I feel like art writing are all skills that can be learned not that easily, still easily enough, still accessible enough because they are cheap to be able to do your own game. I say that as I have a degree in art, but I mean I learned to code like in a month on a brain pie, and that's when went quite well.
I could not imagine just picking up art as something just on the side to be able to create a project. Like if I could do just code, my first thought would be I need someone else to do the art, not I should learn to do the art. It sounds super intimidating.
It's not easy to take the pen and draw, but that's nice. When you start to become better, it's very satisfactory. So I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely investing in a skill is always worth the time.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people where if I'm not good at it, the first 3 seconds I get super upset and I drop it and I'm like, no, this is not for me.
Understandable. I tried music and I just gave up.
Well, me and Midnight have seen some character sketches both in the HIO devlogs for the game and in the special art that you shared with us, which we'll get to in a little bit. And we can see the art evolution. So, can you tell us a bit more about the art style and its evolution during the development?
Since it was an quite old game, old ideas, it was my old art style, but I think it didn't change that much. The thing that most change is my improvement as an artist. But I think I change things a lot with like, no, how to say this. Between my games, there are quite a difference in art style, but it's mostly because I try to give a unique art direction to each game I do. So I try to change art style each time while keeping my habits as an artist, so I can change completely. But I try to adapt my art style to the genre I want to tell. So you can see, for example, in Mask, my first big game, that I used cell shading and bolder color, while this one is more muted, but it's more muted than Mask, for example.
So you think it's more your skill has improved throughout the years and that changes the art style a bit, not so much that you've changed direction in a way and you try different things with different projects.
Yeah, that's right.
I see. Well, did the characters change a bunch in your head since conception until now?
They changed a lot, but mostly Styx. Styx wasn't the same character before. I mean, he was, but at the same time, he wasn't. Personality didn't change, but his lore and his story changed a lot. He's the one who changed the most, while Pomme kept her personality and story since I created her.
I really like the logo in the beginning of the game as well, by the way. I think it's very pretty. Does it mean anything by any chance?
It's more like a symbolic representation of Pomme, since Pomme means apple. I find it quite funny to play on the word apple and the apple that gets bitten by the demons.
So he's the devil, she's the apple.
Yeah.
I see. Very cool. So I saw that you've announced your release date to be the 17th of March this year.
Yes.
That's awesome. Congratulations. It
Thank
must
you.
be very exciting for you.
Yeah, a little stressful as well.
I'm sure. I wanted to ask, what can our listeners and players in general expect after the demo when they start playing the full game in terms of story depth and concept?
So the demo is 1/4 of the full game about that, and the story will go deeper into the lore, mostly a lot of lore and of course a space scene, but that you'll see later. And I hope you'll enjoy it. But yeah, there are also a lot of characters that also appear, like Pomme's dad, friends, and you'll see more about knights, and that's it. And a lot of CG, of course.
Awesome.
And wait, and for anyone else who's interested, there's a not safe for work button in the settings I checked, okay?
Yeah, that's not the spiciest game. It's quite soft in the spicy content, but it's still an adult game, so yeah, be aware of that when you play.
Well, speaking of CGIs, we did get some exclusive content from you, things that probably most people haven't seen yet. And one of them is a CG from later on in the game. I believe you said chapter 3. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's the following chapter of the demo, so quite at the beginning. And that's when the boss character get to know more of each other and see Styx shirtless. But that's more to be sure that his wounds are healing well. I'm sure it's nothing else.
Yeah, for sure, just the wounds.
Yeah, right.
In this CG, we're going to be showing it on screen for the viewers who are watching on YouTube. You can see that he has some lines on his neck and under his pecs. What are those? If it's not a spoiler, obviously.
No, that's not a spoiler. That's more lore. That's symbols of demons. So demons have a culture of their own, and their horns, their tails, and their marking are symbol of the area they live in. So, for example, Styx is an area with demons with black horns and marking. Somewhere in another area of the world, they can have blue horns or more round marking or other kind of marking.
I see, so you're saying there's a chance that in the sequel we could be romancing a bluehorn demon.
Yeah, you could meet a lot of other demons.
I can't wait. Okay, we have one more piece of art, which I found even more interesting, because the CGs we will be able to see in the full game either way, but this was something very special looking to me. A piece of art from way earlier, a concept art for both Pomme and for Styx. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so sorry if it's ugly, but I mean, I have fond memories of it.
I think it looks fantastic.
Thank you, you're kind. But yeah, that's another art I did it right when I started to write the story about them. So it is 8 years old, and it's how they began. Both they didn't change that much. I think they evolved, but I think you can see the color stayed the same, and they are the first sketch I did of them.
That is super cool. They definitely didn't change. You already had the idea of how they should look even back then. Like in your head, you already had the right vision for both characters.
Yeah.
Styx changed a bit more, Pomme a bit less, but for the most part, they haven't changed that much.
Yeah. I mean, I kept the base of the character because I loved them as they were at the time. So I just adapted it to my current taste and also to the story.
I like the combination of the red hair and the green eyes. Really, very pretty.
Yeah, I love it. If you check my games, they have a tendency to always have somewhat red hair and green eyes. So.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I noticed that.
Yeah. That's. I think it's a bad habit, but I do it anyway.
It's nice. Sometimes if you just like something, just stick with it. It's totally fine.
Yeah, that's. I think that I have a genre of MC, and that's.
I understand. Well, I think that those were all of our questions. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to say?
Yeah, so it's coming on the 17th of March this year on Steam and itch.io. And sometime later, a few months after, there will be an extra story, a longer epilogue to be exact. So yeah, they will have an extra story to make a longer endings and talk about the future of Pomme and Styx after the stories.
Is this because you reached some sort of stretch goal?
Yeah, that's Yeah, that's right. I reach 50 projects and each iOS I wish to do something. That's what I'll do as soon as I release, start work on the extra story.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode. If you are interested in Devil's Apple, you can go ahead and try it out on Steam or Itch, where there's a demo and it's entirely free.
Huge thanks to Kakera for joining us today. Thank you for listening, and until next time.